Hey, this is Pastor Dave, and this is your Monday Mojo. Hope you had a great weekend. So, I played a lot of sports when I was younger. Played baseball, I played basketball, but played tennis. But I never played football. And many people have said that football is the ultimate team sport. And it really, if you think about it, it is. There's a lot of moving parts. There's three different teams on every team. There's the offense and the defense and the special teams, and they've all got to do their parts and do it well for a team to actually win a football game. Um, Yesterday the Bengals and the Chiefs played a tremendous football game, and I watched that game to the very end last night. And something happened at the end of the game that was just, it was heartbreaking to watch. A young man named Joseph Asai, who just minutes before, the commentators had said, we've been calling this guy's name all night long. He's been all over the field from one side to the other, making tackles, making plays. He's just been a tremendous asset to the Bengals tonight. And then something else happened. But let me back it up a little bit. A teammate of his, a guy named B.J. Hill, was interviewed a couple days before the big game. And they were asking him different questions about the game. But one of the things that the reporter asked him was about the team itself. And he said, we just really love and care for each other. We love to celebrate when a big play is made, and we love to pump each other up. We really love and care for each other. This was 2 days before the game. So in the waning seconds of the game, Patrick Mahomes is running down the sideline to try and get as many yards as he can for his field goal kicker. The game is tied 20-20. And he goes down the sideline. You think he's going to go out, but then he keeps going down the sideline. And Joseph Asai comes running over at full speed, and he's trying to stop him or maybe moving backwards, which meant the clock would keep running, and he hits him when he's out of bounds, which is a classic, clear-cut, personal foul, roughing, unnecessary roughness. So 15 yards was added on to the end of the play. So instead of them being at the 42, they were at the 27, which made it a 45-yard field goal with 8 seconds left to go. 45 yards was makeable. 60 yards probably wouldn't have been. And they probably would have gone into overtime. And who knows what would have happened. But as soon as he went to the bench, he sat down, and you could see he was beginning to weep. As the moments, the last few seconds of the game, which, of course becomes minutes, goes on, the kicker comes out, kicks the field goal, Kansas City wins, and Joseph Asai is just sitting on the bench with his head in his hands, weeping. Now, he'd had a tremendous game. Truthfully, when the Bengals punted to the Kansas City Chiefs, they punted right down the middle of the field, and the special teams didn't stop the guy from getting a big gain. Could have kicked to the side of the field, and it would have been a lot better. All parts working together. But Joseph Asai, of course, felt like it was all on him. Now, why did I mention B.J. Hill? Because in the locker room, B.J. Hill went over and stood next to Joseph Asai. And he looked at the reporters and he said, ain't no dumb questions going to be allowed. I will shut them down as soon as you ask. And the reporters would start asking questions. And if he felt like it was dumb, he said, ask another question, bro. It's one thing to say we all love and care for each other when you're heading into a championship game, when you're on a 10-game winning streak. It's another thing to stand next to somebody who really had a moment that people will say was a moment of failure, and say, I really love you, bro. I'm going to stand here and defend you against all of those questions. I know it's not the same, but there was a guy named Peter who said, I will never let you down, Jesus. And he had had a great time with Jesus, just like Asai had a great game all night long. And in the heat of the moment, I don't know him. And the Bible tells us and gives us that same picture of Peter weeping at what he had done. And yet Jesus comes alongside him and says, do you love me? Do you love me? I love you. And reinstates him. I think it's an important thing for us to keep in mind with each other. Because there are going to be times when we've had Great moments, great moments, great moments, and then we make just one bonehead mistake. And we're heartbroken. And we're sitting on the bench minutes after the game is over, still heartbroken. And we need somebody like B.J. Hill to come up alongside us and say, all right, I ain't going to let anybody ask you something stupid. So let's be like B.J. Hill. Let's be like Christ. Let's be like the scripture says, if any of you falls in sin, you who are his brothers and sisters, restore them. Restore them. I don't know anything about B.J. Hill's life, but I know in that moment he acted like Christ. Anyway, that's your Monday Mojo. Have a great week.